Last night, we saw Cardano climb up to 40 cents, a level we've been talking about now for a little bit. But the question is, can we make that push to 60 cents coming very, very soon? I think it's going to be asking for a lot to go higher than that, but that would still be a massive rally for Cardano. And I'm going to talk about in this video why that potentially is coming your way very, very soon. Also, Bitcoin has some news that some people are going to say is bearish, yet the price continued to rally up last night all the way back to $38,000. He got temporarily rejected, but we're seeing a little bit of a reload happening. What is going to go on with Bitcoin? Is today the day we get across 40,000? Do we have to wait maybe a couple more days? Make sure to go ahead and strap on in here as we're going to be covering a lot of information. But first, before we get into those details, get into the Bitcoin and Cardano chart, let's talk about some important things that have happened today. Now, the first one I kind of referenced there. Some people are going to say this is bad news. Some people are going to say, oh no, Bitcoin is in trouble. SEC defers decision on Bitcoin, the spot Bitcoin ETF, Grayscale, Ether, futures, filings. Surprise, surprise, guys. Are we really that surprised? Yeah, technically they had till tomorrow. I'll say the big surprise to me is reading this article today and not reading this article tomorrow. That's really strange that Gary Gensler doesn't wait until the last day of his deadline to make a pretty key decision. So that's the surprise to me. Am I surprised at all that we're not seeing a Bitcoin ETF, or rather, sorry, am I surprised that we delayed it once again? Now it's moved back to that January 10th date? Not one bit. And yet, the market continues to move to the upside. Why is that? Well, I'm going to continue to hold my opinion at this point with the new information that we have. I do think a dip is coming in Bitcoin. I still believe, similar to what we saw back in 2019, that we're going to be seeing a significant dip. I think at least somewhere in the realm of 30%, but it might get closer towards 50% the higher we get up, especially if we make a push towards 50,000 for Bitcoin. Guys, don't be surprised to see a 40%, maybe even, depending on how severe we can get that, maybe even a 50% pullback all the way to that $25,000 level. It's not the end of the world. It's going to be a great spot to buy more Bitcoin and altcoins as well. Again, altcoins in that case, they're going to outpace Bitcoin's fall. We might see some altcoins, depending on how high they rally, they might drop somewhere between 50 to 60% themselves. I'm looking at that as an opportunity. But that's not the only story that we have today. Today's an important day, guys. Today's an important day because this man right here, I think his name's Steven, and then his last name's really hard to pronounce. I think, what does the article say his name is? Come down here. Where is Naryov? Naryov. Tell me if I'm pronouncing that horribly wrong. But the Ethereum whistleblower, he backs Cardano as his top pick. That's the headline. But ultimately, what you need to know about this is that today is the day, supposedly, that this man is going to be releasing some videos or audio, something that's supposed to be super damning to Ethereum. Now, the article's interesting. He backs Cardano. He actually, in the article that we're reading here, he talks about how much of a mistake it was that Vitalik Buterin got rid of Charles Hoskinson. He accused Ethereum of every brilliant move that Ethereum's ever done has just been copying. First, they copied Ripple. Now they're working to copy Cardano. Ultimately, he's saying that Ethereum's not a good platform, and he's saying that he's backing Cardano as his number one crypto. Let me know what you guys think about that, but that is the news. Let's take a look at the charts, and let's discuss Cardano. Again, crossing over to 40 cents. We are back now down to 39 cents, so correction has come. Of course, 40 cents was a level that we've been looking at for a while. That was right there at that 0.236 level, and now we're retracing just a little bit. You come down here to our smaller time frames, you guys can see we are pulling back. The question at this point, though, in my mind, is can we make a push past this level of the 0.236? Let's go back out here to the daily chart. Guys, I do believe we can. Let's start off by just looking at some oscillators here. Now, you're going to say, oh, Tim, but isn't that a lot of bearish indicators there? Isn't that a bunch of overboughts? Isn't that a peak seeker? Well, let's actually spread this out, and let's take a look at something here more recently. First of all, you're going to notice this peak seeker does not correspond to the most recent green candle. No, that peak seeker corresponds to these red ones. And then as we start to pull back down, we see the green histogram actually come in telling us, hey, it's a good little buy spot back here, right at about 35 cents. Go ahead and get that. Go and bounce price back up. To me, this is actually room to grow. If we go over to the 4-hour chart, you're going to see, yeah, the RSI is really high right now, and we have that red reversal, but I think that there's still some more room to grow. Even if we have to have a little bit of a dip, I still think we can move to that upside. If we're going to see a dip, though, let's go ahead and look over here. ADA, this is the heat liquidate. Oh, I'm still over. You have to watch this. It still does this. I don't know why. I have to figure this out. Same problem I had yesterday. Let's go scroll way over. There you go. That's a lot better. You guys can see that now. You guys can see we blasted through. We actually probably had a lot of this spike because we blasted through the 38.6 level of liquidity we had yesterday. Shot up to that 40. Now, there's not a whole lot above us, but that actually could make things really simple and easy to make the explosion up to 60 cents. We'll talk about that here in just a second. But technically speaking, what you guys should be watching for. If there is a major pullback on Cardano, we do have a lot of liquidity asking for a price back to 37.1. I know that seems like a big dip in price, but let's go back here and let's take a look. 37.1, we're talking about coming all the way back down to some levels that, again, here just a couple of days ago, we were wrestling with that same exact spot. After coming down from 39 cents, we bottomed out at 35, made a bounce back up to where? Yeah, pretty much 35.1. Came back down, wicked a little bit below, and now we're coming back up here. Turning this into support is not a bad thing. Could it happen? Yes. Do I think it's absolutely definitely going to happen? I don't know. Seeing these reversals, seeing the 4-hour chart maybe print like this, potentially, I'm not necessarily convinced. You're also going to notice that we're kind of wrestling at the moment with another resistance level right here at 39 cents that we did set back on November 11th. So technically speaking, this is our first line of defense. If we lose that, again, don't be surprised. We do have the heat map telling us there's a lot of liquidity right down there at 37.1. Not the end of the world if we drop that far. But let's discuss why 60 cents is an important level to watch. Guys, it's not just that we have that as our 0.382 level on Fibonacci, but it's actually when you look at everything as a whole, especially if something comes out today that is damning for Ethereum. I don't think it's going to kill Ethereum forever. I think there's just too many strong supporters and too much infrastructure in Ethereum. But if it does have something that makes Cardano look really good, that's a catalyst in and of itself that's going to be very, very interesting. But take a look at Cardano's chart, just looking at Fibonacci levels. Yes, we've had a nice little impressive rally here. Yes, here in just the last month and some change, we have rallied 60, almost 70% if you go to the top of the wick that just hit 40 cents last night. That's impressive. That's very impressive. But it's not necessarily as impressive as some of these others. I'm not going to go all the way down to the $8 range. Let's just go back to the same timeline that it seems like everything was pumping. Well, Solana right here, you guys are seeing a little bit of a tidbit. I'm not here to give a strong Solana prediction, but I do think that we could potentially make a case up there towards $78. But my point here is Solana, from where the current top wick is, has rallied 218%. Well, you might be like, well, Tim, Solana has been special. You're right. It has been special. I'm just saying, it's way outpaced Cardano. More on that here in just a second. Let's go over here to Chainlink. Chainlink, since this whole explosion kind of started, has been up about 132%. Does that mean, I think, so Chainlink can keep going to the upside. I think all these coins keep going to the upside. But you're seeing some of these other coins have massively, way more drastic rallies than you have with Cardano. XRP is going to be about the same as Cardano. So that's another one that I'm looking at saying, hey, that could be kind of impressive. Let's take a look at Matic. Here's the last one. I don't want to bore you guys with just the same data over and over again. I just want to point out a lot of these other ones, 95, almost pushing that 100%. Cardano has been one of the coins lagging, and you're going to see the haters say, oh, that's because Cardano doesn't work. That's because Cardano, it doesn't work fast enough. It's not. Guys, there's enough with the Cardano FUD. First of all, it is still one of, if not the most beloved altcoin by communities. Also, again, when I see this, remember crypto works in waves. If I am just sitting here logically thinking through what I'm looking at with Solana, with Chainlink, with Matic, some of these coins that have had massive pumps here recently, I take a look and I'm saying, hey, I want to make some more money. I'm a trader that wants to make more money right now. These coins, Matic coming up here, already touched its 0.382 level. Actually, no, that's touching the 0.5 level of its Fibonacci. Chainlink has already come up and touched its 0.5 level. Solana, we're talking about flirting with its golden pocket. Cardano, though, we're talking about we just last night on a pump that it kind of had its own special night last night over these other altcoins, only made it up to the 0.236 level. Cardano is massively oversold at the moment, and it's only a matter of time before people wake up. And I do believe, again, this is not the bull market. I still think this is something that we could see a 60-cent Cardano and then a pullback down to 30%, a 50% dip, maybe even further. Maybe we do go down all the way to that 24 cents range once again. If you're looking at heat map and you kind of zoom out here on Cardano, let me come up here and let's go all the way out to the 3-month zone. You're going to see that there's actually a lot of liquidity way down at where we have been bottoming. If my screen will load for us, there we go. You guys see way down here, we have liquidity, a strong liquidity grab coming in at 23.8 cents. Am I predicting that we're going to go all the way down there? No, that's not necessarily what I'm doing. But what I am saying is that just because we're bullish short term doesn't mean there won't be better buy spots down the road. To me, I like the 30 cent zone better. But I think there's a decent chance that Cardano makes that push up to 60 cents, up to the 0.382, outpaces the rest of the crypto market, and then we see the pullback happen. But that's enough about Cardano for now. Let's talk about Bitcoin. Again, these are the two that we're talking about mainly in this video. Guys, we are wrestling as we are speaking right now. There is something on the 5-minute chart. We just pulled back. I'm going to show you on the liquidity map why we did it. We just pulled back after topping out last night, again, right there at 38,000. We pulled back and touched right here at 37.1. Remember that number, 37.1. Very important. You're also going to notice on the 5-minute chart, massive amount of volume. A lot of times you see volume coming high, either confirming, breaking through a strong level of support or resistance. Well, there really wasn't any strong support or resistance there. Or you see high volume marking a great spot of reversal because it hit liquidity. Well, liquidation heat map. Let's scroll up to our Bitcoin chart. Look at where we had some strong liquidity, 37.1. I was looking this morning as I was prepping for the video. I said, all right, we have some nice liquidity up here at 38.3. Which, by the way, that's 38.267. I'm just rounding up to 38.3. Well, we have not hit that in well over more than a year. So the fact that we have liquidity up there means that is potent. I think that we make a push up to there, and I think there's a decision point on if we can push through there, we could continue to liquidate some shorts and make that push above 40. But I was looking and I said, all right, I think we're going to have to make a push down here to 37.1. And sure enough, almost right before we went live for this video, and I'm not live, but once I hit record this video, we touched that 37.1. Now we are back up. We're making a move back up to 37.2. Keep your eyes on a lot of things here. Again, 5-minute chart. We just got our nice reversal on that same call. 15-minute chart. Let's take a look here. We've been riding these lower waves. It's time to make a move to the upside. What I'm looking for on the 4-hour chart, and I discussed this a little yesterday in our live show, so make sure you guys do not miss those. There's going to be people out here talking about bearish divergences. I am looking for a bearish divergence to call the next big reversal on Bitcoin, but no, it is not the one. I even Sharp Prime here is calling this a bearish divergence. I respect it, but at the end of the day, that's a small one. That's a flat top of the oscillator with a rising, that's a very weak divergence. I'm going to be looking for a strong bearish divergence, but I'm telling you right now, you're going to see people today on the internet talking about this peak right here back on November 9th and talking about the peak that we just set here last night on November 15th. Let me explain to you why that's not bearish divergence. All right, so we, using this peak right here, already set bearish divergence. That we set it back with this peak. We had higher highs in price action, higher lows in the oscillator, lower lows and lower highs in the oscillator, lower highs in the RSI. When you're talking about divergence, you can't keep using the same peak over and over and over and over. At a certain point, you do have to have a reset button. Well, guess what? This was bearish divergence. We had our reset. We dropped back down to 35,000, wicked all the way to 34.7. We had our reset. We're moving to the upside. What am I looking for now here on the 4-hour chart after flashing a buy signal for the first time in over a month? I am looking for bearish signals, but I'm not looking for the first one. I'm looking for actual bearish divergence. At the worst, what I'm expecting here is to see something along the lines, and I'm not convinced that this is going to happen here. Like, we have barely retraced. When I pull up this RSI, barely retraced in the RSI. I think there's a decent chance that we see the price shoot up closer towards that 39,000, maybe even into the 40,000. We see another retracement, maybe back down to this green level, and then another push to the upside. I'm looking for, and I know that's confusing right there because I ran out of real estate with my stream. I'm looking for two more tops, and then I'm looking for my oscillators. Let's go ahead and go here. I'm looking for my oscillators to do something along these lines with that. Chart prime oscillator come back up here, come significant dip, and then a lower high, and that will be the bearish divergence I'm looking for to sell some Bitcoin, take some profit. Is that going to happen somewhere around 40,000? Do we see another God candle shoot us up maybe in the mid $40,000 level? Those of you who've been watching my channel know that I'm kind of in the boat right now of saying I do believe when you look at these larger time frames, I do believe there is a chance we push closer towards 50,000, maybe into the mid $40,000 levels. I've talked about that in past videos. I'll talk about it in future videos. But for now, what you should know is we are bullish. Cardano, Bitcoin, very, very bullish. But that's enough about what I think. What do you think? Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are about a 60-cent Cardano coming very, very soon. Let me know what your thoughts are about, is 40 the top? Was 38 the top? Are we going to get to 50,000? Where do you think Bitcoin is going? Go ahead and smash that like button. Hit subscribe on your way out. And I will see you guys in our next video. Adios.